my cycle has been leaked.
And so this concoction of drugs, this polypharmacy, I think it's redonkulous, as in it's retarded. Coach Greg, and in today's video, we're going to be going over the leaked cycle of Coach Kolton. You all know Coach Kolton. He used to blast steroids himself, just like me, but since that time, he's lowered his doses and he's trying to live longer than last time.
The rumors are true. My cycle has been leaked. Let's go over it.
I have spent the last 8 years of my life on some type of pharmacology, but in the past 2, I've been trying to reverse the effects of high dose exposure to steroids. My cycle, right here.
And so when I watch Kolton's videos and I saw he's been smaller, he's looks maxing, his face is getting leaner, he has a very lean physique, I never expected his current cycle to be this much. He has a bunch of drugs that I simply don't agree with. I don't understand why he's using them. Who would have convinced him to take it in such high doses? And so if I'm going to be honest about his cycle, I think it's redonkulous, as in it's retarded. I think it's stupid. I think it's going to be a net negative, and I think he would be more intelligent by either cutting out some of these products or at least lowering the doses. But hey, we're going to go over into each one to see, does it make sense, not make sense? What is he doing right and what is he doing wrong? I am aware he has cerebral palsy, but it's possible he has other afflictions, mental illness, whatever, that I am not aware of. And so I'm going to do my best. First off, testosterone, perhaps the most interesting for most people. It's 150 milligrams of Test E, and he's doing that in 3 divided doses to allow for more stable blood levels. I myself am doing 140 milligrams a week, so we're almost bang on equal. I do my shots usually every 3 or 4 days, either 60 milligrams or 80. And so by splitting up your doses, you're going to get more stable blood levels, which is going to be better. Based on his physique, when he was natural, he obviously has amazing genetics. To get this amount of muscle while being completely natural shows he has amazing potential. Now, we can see in comparison when he's enhanced, he's significantly bigger. And so some of you are going to say, no, he was always enhanced. I don't believe that. Same as how I had an amazing physique when I was natural. I had a more amazing physique when I was enhanced. And now that I'm just on HRT, I still manage to keep a lot of my muscle. I'm obviously bigger than if I would be if I was on nothing, but I did have a lot of muscle to begin with. Now let's examine his current physique while TRT. He does have a great looking physique. He's single digit body fat, but here's the problem. His physique is smaller than when he was natty. How is it possible that he's on TRT, has been training for perhaps 8 to 10 years since then, and has gotten smaller? Well, I'll tell you why. He's abusing Retta. Retta is a GLP-GIP agonist. You're likely familiar with things like Ozempic or Tirzepatide, which are in fact FDA approved. Remember, you can get GLPs, for example, at Algo RX. You can get enclomiphene. You can get various peptides, all above board, FDA approved. It's not some research chemical bullshit. It's come from compounding pharmacies. And so he's chosen Retta, which isn't FDA approved, but I'm certain he's done his research. I'm not saying that it doesn't work, but it isn't actually approved right now. And so if you are taking Retta, you're kind of a guinea pig, although I'm certain or almost certain it will be approved in the near future. Retta at 5 milligrams, it's no joke. It's going to increase your resting heart rate and decrease your blood sugar. This can cause profound fatigue and exercise intolerance. Just think of it. You're trying to train and work out harder than last time, but you can't. And so your body is constantly starving for nutrients. Think of it like this. He has the testosterone. This is essentially like the workers building on your house. It's a construction crew. Now the nutrition, the protein, the calories, that is the boards and the nails. With more testosterone, you have more workers, but you got no boards and nails. And so how are you building that house? And so you essentially got a bunch of guys working there and not able to do their job. And so essentially when you're this lean on a diet, not eating sufficient calories, you don't have the energy, you have hypoglycemia, and you cannot train harder than last time. You can't build the muscle that you could be. And so essentially he looks minimizing by taking the Retta. And so he doesn't need it at all. Why are you taking Retta? Are you going to say it's going to benefit you in some way? It's reducing your body fat or blood pressure or something. It's not doing that. And so if anything, if you don't want to listen to me and reduce it to 0, you can do what you want. Of course, you can take 5, you can take 10, you can do whatever. But wouldn't it be smarter to reduce that dose to, let's call it 2.5? Like, isn't that enough? I mean, I personally recommend you take nothing. For example, I'm not taking Retta, I'm not taking Ozempic, I'm not taking Tirzepatide. Why would I? Now, could I reduce my cravings by taking it? Yes, but why would I need to? I'm already lean enough on my own. And so I don't believe people should just abuse Retta just to be lean. If he was obese, overweight, and wanted to reduce his body size, well, that would make sense. But bro is already shredded. And so Nebivolol, 40 milligrams, this is a retarded dose. I'm sorry, it's stupid. It makes no sense. I don't know what condition he may have that this would make sense for anyone. I can't figure it out. And so unless he's got some secret doctor in the works and he's using it, or my estimation is that it's actually fake, that he doesn't have quality Nebivolol, because this dose, it makes no sense. And so hear me out. Nebivolol is a beta blocker which reduces the force and rate of your heart. Bodybuilders use this drug in comparison to other beta blockers because it increases vasodilation. There is a study, various doses, 1 milligram, 2.5, 5, 10, and guess what? There was no improvement at 10 milligrams in comparison to 5, and in fact, in this graph, 5 was actually better. And so perhaps this is noise, but it makes no sense to go past the 5 milligram dose. It isn't more effective, it isn't better, and so why would we abuse a beta blocker? Your blood pressure isn't going to go any lower from taking 5, 10, or 40, and so why would you take 8 times the recommended dose? I mean, if you want to take 10, hey, well, do whatever you want, but why are we going to 40? The problem is, it isn't going to offer any more benefits, but it's going to have much more negative side effects. And so imagine this. If you take 1,000 milligrams of test, you can grow this amount of muscle. If you take 10,000 milligrams of test, perhaps it doesn't grow anymore. But there are a host of negative side effects that are going to occur. And so you don't want to abuse these things, because the more you take them in higher doses, the worse the outcome can be. And so the problem with this medication is the higher the dose, the less your heart is able to perform. If you try to go and sprint a mile, or perform harder than last time in the gym, your body, it simply cannot. It's reducing the amount of beats per minute that your heart can actually put out. And so you're essentially choke holding your ability to perform. And so why would you do that? Like, why would you want that? I am on none of this drug. I don't even want 1 milligram. And so the fact that he has to abuse it, I'm simply wondering why. And so with his concoction of blood pressure medications, I'm surprised he's able to get around. Like, you would think bro would be laying down in a hospital bed, because every time he would stand up, he would want to faint. And so I feel like his medications are fake. I don't have proof. I'm not sure. I'm just saying that would make sense. Next, 20 milligrams propranolol taken nightly. Again, another beta blocker, a blood pressure medication. Now, at 20 milligrams, this is used primarily as a performance anxiety medication, anti-anxiety. 20 milligrams taken at night, it's notorious for ruining your sleep. And so why would he want to take it before bed? Well, I'll tell you why. This dose taken at this time is commonly prescribed for akathisia, which causes restlessness, and so he's perhaps struggling to get a good night of sleep due to something else. This restlessness often can occur from taking antipsychotic medications. Is he taking this for akathisia? And what exactly is causing the akathisia? I will never know. 5 milligrams minoxidil. Now, he's not putting it topical, he's swallowing this, and when you swallow it, it becomes more of a blood pressure medication rather than something for your hair. This can and will tank your blood pressure and cause you to retain more sodium. And so when you combine propranolol, nebivolol, and minoxidil, in that combination, it's too much. It's dangerous, and in comparison, you'd be much better abusing test. And so his previous doses of steroids was probably safer than this. Sleep on that. Add to this, he's also taking Cialis. I'm taking Cialis, but I'm not taking the other 3. And so when you keep stacking on polypharmacy, what do you expect the result to be? My personal feeling is that he self-prescribed all these medications. I don't believe that any doctor would prescribe this. Anyone taking these medications would need to continuously be monitored by a doctor for safety. This is a dangerous stack. Next, 50 milligrams of modafinil. I was in fact prescribed modafinil for narcolepsy. You all know or are aware that I've suffered from this, but since I've been taking Turk Builder Max, I haven't needed to use it. I have more energy, more stamina, and so I'm not falling asleep randomly throughout the day. Perhaps in the past you would have seen me napping at every chance I could get, but currently I have no problems. Now, 50 milligrams, it isn't a very high dose. I was prescribed 100 milligrams, but it's going to give him more energy that I believe he requires from abusing Retta and all these other medications. They're going to cause fatigue. He's going to be tired. And so that is going to give him a bit of a pick-me-up, a bit more energy than caffeine. Next, 5 milligrams GHK-Cu. This is the same dose that I on. It's rather a strong dose, but he's recently had a hair transplant similar to Coach Greg. And so, hey, I see nothing wrong with that. Next, 0.5 milligrams of dutasteride. This is a very common dose. That was the dose that I was going to take, but I decided the risk, it wasn't worth it for me. He is taking it daily. The half-life of this drug, it's perhaps a week long. It's longer than last time. And so I don't believe you need to take this every single day. If anything, you could take it every other day, every 3 days, twice a week, for example. And that would be plenty. But hey, let's move on. Next up, we have 10 milligrams methylene blue combined with 200 milligrams of SLUPP-332. He's using this to get more energy. If he were to reduce the Retta to 0, he would need to take none of these and he would have more energy than last time. Another option, of course, would be to take GO2 Max to give him more endurance, more energy to do cardio. As why wouldn't he use things that are not prescription medications or dangerous to your body? I see no reason to incorporate this into his cycle, especially for longevity. Methylene blue can in fact cause serotonin syndrome, and so the risk of this would be even higher than taking an antidepressant. I would not recommend it. 2,000 IUs of HCG split 3 times per week. Perhaps he's trying to blow bigger loads than last time. He's trying to keep his ball sack larger than life, and perhaps he wants to have a baby, and so that is why he's doing this. But eating more food would be more beneficial than that. When you're starving your body, when you're dieting down to single-digit body fat, for example, when I'm in peak week for a bodybuilding competition, do you really think that my body is as fertile as last time? It's hard to get hard, guys. And so eating more food, it's going to be more beneficial. HCG is a female pregnancy hormone. It does a lot more in the body than we're actually aware of. And combined with dutasteride, it's more likely to cause negative sexual side effects than not using it all. And so it really isn't worth it. And so I understand that Coach Kolton is doing his best to perhaps look smacks or to live longer than last time, but I don't believe that this is the ideal cycle. I think he's using too many drugs at too high of a dose, and he would be better by minimizing what he's doing. It is possible he's training harder than last time, he's sweating, he develops hyperkalemia, and he dies. And so this concoction of drugs, this polypharmacy that's self-prescribed, it is in fact dangerous. I wouldn't recommend it. He's at a significantly higher or greater risk of his body having problems with his heart and so on. And so please don't copy his cycle. Subscribe, click the bell button, comment to boost the algo, go to Algo RX. You can get your blood work done. Don't purchase all these kind of things. It's too much. If you're interested in coaching, you can click the link. Don't forget to watch those 2 bloops right there. If you want to be sponsored or become an affiliate, you can click the link or sell my products in your stores. There's always a link for that. Click the link if you're interested in the Sculpt app by Coach Greg and Eric Janicki, demonstrating all the exercise training programs, giving your body fat percentage. Click the link if you're interested. And until next time, we are out.